Clap on, clap off, clap on, clap off, the clapper.
This, everybody, is the Peruvian apple cactus fruit. And this is something that I've actually wanted to try for a really long time because it looks really cool. It's a very vibrant, like pink fuchsia kind of color. And it kind of looks like if you took a regular like white dragon fruit, which I happen to have, and took the scales off of it. But these are actually not closely related. I mean, they are both cactuses. However, they are not just different species, they are different genuses. There are a lot of different types of cactuses out there, a lot of different genuses of cactuses out there. Some of them grow like trees, some of them grow like epiphytes, where they like grow in other plants. Other times they grow like how they grow in cartoons, like more like columnar type of cactuses. This is from one of those, from a columnar kind of cactus. This is actually an epiphyte, so these actually grow on top of other things. It's like more like a vine that these come out of. As an aside, dragon fruit farms look really weird. Because of their epiphytes, they need to grow on something else. What farmers will do is they will have like a huge field full of cement columns. So it looks like there's little cement trees going out into the distance, and then they grow the dragon fruit epiphytes around it. They look really wild. This isn't like that. There are a few other weird things about this once we cut it open, but before I do that, I want to give a quick shout out to Brian over at raindanceseeds.com. He sent me this, and for anyone out there who grows plants and might be interested in growing this, check out raindanceseeds.com. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, the inside looks very similar to a white dragon fruit, but there's a little bit of a different texture in there. It almost has, I don't know if it is coming up on camera, but there's like little swirls in there, and it's also more, maybe a little bit more jelly looking. Let me show you what I mean. I'll cut open this one and see. So we got the Peruvian cactus, and we've got the regular dragon fruit here. This one looks very white, very solid. This one is a little bit more translucent looking, and the pattern in there is maybe a little bit of like a swirl kind of pattern. I don't know if you can see that in there, but it looks a little bit different than the inside of this, which is more uniform all the way through. The texture on that is very different. Like when you bite, and the flavor is really good too, but like the texture of a regular dragon fruit is a little bit dense and similar to like a kiwi in texture, maybe a little bit more dense than that. This one is softer. So I don't want to use the word mealy because that has a negative connotation, but it's kind of mealy, but not in a bad way. When you bite into it, the pulp in the inside like comes apart into like little small cells, and you kind of feel those in your mouth, but they're still juicy. So I don't mind that texture. It is maybe a little bit slimy though. Like, yeah, you can actually probably see right there. See that? Yeah, a little slime trail. This is slimy. Regular white dragon fruit, less slimy. And by the way, I am going to keep making comparisons of these two, but I should reiterate, they are not related to each other. I mean, they're both cactuses, but that's kind of where it ends. They're very, very different, but they just look very similar, so I can't help but try to make the comparison. But yeah, even though they look similar, that texture, that flavor is different. The flavor on it is difficult to pinpoint though, because it is very mild. White dragon fruits, main complaint a lot of people have is that these are really, really mild. They look really cool, but they don't really taste like much. Those have more flavor than this. It's not flavorless, but it is quite mild. So I need to kind of focus a little bit more to get it out. Let's break it apart, okay? So first, sweetness. 5 out of 10 around the sweetness of an apple. Tartness, almost no tartness to the inside of this. So I'd say that it's not 0, but it's not quite a 1. Because I'd say this is a 1 on tartness. This is a little bit less tart. But what about the flavor? Tastes like watermelon. A little bit. It's maybe a little bit milder, and the sweetness and the tartness is a little bit off from a watermelon, but it is probably most similar to watermelon. White dragon fruit, by the way, does not taste like watermelon. This tastes more like a kiwi sort of flavor. Another really interesting thing about the Peruvian apple cactus is that the rind of this is edible. And it's a little bit tart. Not very tart on the inside, but the outside does have maybe like a 2 out of 10 on tartness. It still tastes like watermelon, but maybe a little bit like pickly kind of flavor, because it's got that tartness and it's got a little bit more of a leaning towards cucumber sort of flavor than watermelon, like watermelon rind. But still good, still good. I would take these and just like throw them into a blender. The regular dragon fruit, a lot of people don't know this, but you can actually eat the skin on these too. It is edible, and people use it for a variety of things. People make tea out of it. In Indonesia, they saute these into some dishes. So people do eat it, but it's not supposed to taste very good raw. So let's just see. Yeah, you can eat white dragon fruit rind, but doesn't mean you necessarily should. It tastes like something you should be throwing away, like a melon rind sort of taste. But you can prepare it in a way that you can eat it. This, it's not as good as the center, but it's all right. And because the rind is tart and the inside is not, it makes me think that it might be a good idea to eat it like this. That's good. The textures kind of fight each other a little bit because this is so soft and this is a little bit rubbery, but the flavors go. And when you bite into it like that, it's giving me a little bit of a floral kind of taste that I wasn't getting when I ate them separately, for whatever reason. So, the Peruvian apple cactus, this is really cool. It looks really cool on the inside, looks cool on the outside, and the most interesting thing to me is just that these look so similar to the white dragon fruit. They're different species, they're different genuses, and even though they do look similar to each other, you can tell that they are different. The flavor, the texture, the rind, the tartness, all of that, how they grow especially, you can tell that these are different fruits, even though they do, at a glance, look very similar. So I think that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. Again, if you want to grow this, check out raindanceseeds.com, and I will see you all next time. I would like to give a big shout out to Smarter Every Day, Wootbot, JMac, and Schoolbird. They are mega patrons over on patreon.com. This is how I can afford to do all the things that I'm doing on this channel, so it's a big help. Thank you so much, guys. And anyone else watching who would like to support the channel and get some cool stuff in return, click the link in the description below. Another thing that you can do is buy a t-shirt. I've got them for sale over on my website, which I've linked in the description below as well. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next time.